The fact that the Joker movie has made more money at the box office than Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, the final movie in one of the biggest, most popular movie franchises of all time, was beaten by a film that cost $55 million to make, and that was directed by the director of the Hangover trilogy. All right? And this is not to throw shade at Todd Phillips. He's more than proved he's a capable director. The Joker movie looks and aesthetically is beautiful to watch. All right? It's very, very well directed. Okay? But the fact that it made more money is unbelievable. I mean, it beat a Star Wars movie. Yes, the Joker is very popular. He's a very beloved villain character in the comic book DC universe, right? But never has he been as popular or as famous as Star Wars. It's Star Wars, for God's sake. And Star Wars got beaten by the Joker, all right? A film that cost $55 million to make. All right, what did The Rise of Skywalker cost to make? $150 million? At least? Maybe more? All right, and oh my God, it's it's amazing to me. Will the studios learn from this? Will they learn from the fact that the Joker movie didn't alienate anybody, really? I mean, people watched it and took political messages out of it. People saw what they wanted to in that movie, all right, but it didn't have an obvious message that it was hitting you over the head with. It was sort of a politically neutral film that had elements that people could, cling to and claim as their own, all right? But the Star Wars movie, all right, I mean, the entire Disney sequel trilogy, to be honest, had a very obvious message that it was hitting people over the head with. A very PC, bloody identity politics message. And we were being smashed over the head by the mainstream media who were just shilling for that entire sequel trilogy, telling us that if we didn't like it, we were racists and xenophobic and sexist and all this bullshit accusations, all right, just to deflect from the fact that it was a poorly written trilogy of movies, okay? It took the spirit that George Lucas had in his two trilogies, and it just shit on it and threw it out the window, all right? Yes, the prequel trilogy is nowhere near as good as the original trilogy, all right? But it still had the heart of Star Wars. The heart, if they felt like Star Wars movies, all right? Yes, they were, poorly delivered and poorly executed Star Wars movies, but the story was great. The characters were great. They just weren't written well, okay? But the heart was there. They were Star Wars movies. The sequel trilogy was devoid of all that magic that was there. And it had a really obvious political message. And the fans were insulted and pretty much told that the fact that they didn't like it meant there was something wrong with them. Not with the studio. There was something wrong with the fans. All right? The studios and the writers and these people at Lucasfilm that took the reins over off of George Lucas, they just had no accountability. They never had any inward introspection to look at themselves and think, maybe we didn't deliver a good product. No, it was the fans' fault. All right. And the fans revolted. Okay. They're only going to be insulted and talked down to and spoken to in this way and treated this way for so long. And they punished Disney Star Wars at the box office. Yes, it still made tons and tons of money. But you can't call it a total, overwhelming success when each movie in the trilogy made successively less money, significantly less money. Okay? And yes, people will point out, Empire Strikes Back made less than A New Hope did and all that. That rule doesn't apply to every trilogy. All right, that, each successive movie makes less. It happened in Star Wars, yes. All right, but the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which is a more modern trilogy, that they successively made more money, each one. Okay, so I'd rather compare it to that because it's more in recent memory, and that's almost 20 years ago now. But the fact that this giant, mega global corporation with its tentacles into everything, Disney I'm talking about, of course, right? With all the franchises it owns now, and all the multiple theme parks and all that, and the billions of dollars that they poured into this sequel trilogy. All right. And the first one was a huge success because everyone was starved for Star Wars. They wanted more Star Wars. But each film got progressively worse, and the ratings for them, the user ratings, I'm talking about not the shill critics, because their ratings don't really count when they're, giving good ratings so they can continue to get access to red carpet events and to get interviews with the stars and all that, all right? But when you got the user ratings progressively getting worse with each film, and the box office getting way worse with each movie, it's a sign that it's you, studios. It's not the fans. It's you. You made shit movies. And look at the Joker. He comes out there, he makes a movie that's a crowd pleaser, that's beautifully shot, well made, no agenda to smack you over the head with, all right? Doesn't insult the fans at all, and his movie is a wild success, all right? And it's just a testament to what Disney has done to Star Wars and what could have been. You tell a good story, you get some decent writers who show some appreciation to the source material, all right? And you'll get rewarded at the box office and, with people's reviews. And yes, the Joker did a different take on the source material of the Joker, right? But it did it in a interesting, fresh way that was compelling to people, obviously, because look how much money it made on such a small budget. Brilliant return. Todd Phillips, well done. But we'll see what Disney learns from this. I mean, if they're blind to it and continue to keep their head in the sand and say that it's everyone else, it's the fans, they're the ones at fault, they just don't get the brilliance of our scripts and our movies. I mean, even John Boyega seems to, throw shade at his own franchise that he's in. And in all my reviews, I've said he was the best thing about the new trilogy. He's the best actor in it, and he should have been, ideally, the main protagonist, Jedi, Luke Skywalker type character. And they really could have played up Poe Dameron as being the scoundrel, Han Solo type. They could have played the same sort of plot elements and themes and just done it in a sort of new way. But instead, they, The Force Awakens was a rehash of A New Hope. It was a shit rehash. And raised like the worst Star Wars character ever. Mary Sue and all. So I'm not going to rant on too much longer. I think I've made my point. The Joker, look at that contrast. The Joker and its box office return and its critical acclaim from the users, the actual people who go to the cinema to watch it, not the snooty elitist critics. All right. Look at the Joker's reception monetarily and reviews wise, and look at the Star Wars sequel trilogy. And they couldn't be, opposite ends of the spectrum. It really is unbelievable. And hopefully Lucasfilm learns a lesson from this and looks at themselves and maybe fires the entire writing team and creative team they have there, get new management and get new writers. And, Star Wars may live again to be glorious one day in the future. He's hoping. All right, folks. I'll leave it there. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Thanks for sticking around. Take care, be good, and I'll see yous later.